And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics. Let's move on now to our first item in the episode, and that's the Android Basics. We're talking about QPR1 Beta 1 of Android 16. That thing dropped on Tuesday, didn't it? Was it Tuesday? I think it was after the keynote and all of that.
I/O.
Yeah, during Google I/O. And I was not looking forward to it because I thought, though, that, I'll be getting the stable version of Android first, of Android 16 first. But, of course, they did it like what they did last year. The QPR preceded the stable version. And if I knew, I probably would have opted out of it. But still, it's a good thing because it's an absolutely beautiful thing to see that QPR1 Beta 1, when it hit my phone and then I installed it. And the first thing I noticed, even with my, little usable side that's not so usable, I could see the difference. And most especially when it first came up on that lock screen, and where I put in my pin, it looked just absolutely beautiful. It's like me taking a pic at Karin. So Karin, it's a beautiful thing. I'm like, ooh la la, it's a beautiful thing. So I like the way it looks. So basically, this is most especially for those that, sighted people will enjoy it, because I'm thinking of when Google first introduced material design with Lollipop, and then we got Material U with Android 12. And now we have that Material 3 Expressive. So yeah, just an iteration of that. But yeah, colors are beautiful. New changes, especially, for those that can see. For those of us who are blind, however, I thought I kind of saw something, John, and you may confirm this or not, but I noticed some oddity going on in the like the app info, for example. So if you go to an app info of any app, so you go to that app info, and those three buttons at the top, like archive, uninstall, and force stop, for some reason, if you touch it, it just says button. The labels are below the buttons itself. So I don't know if that was just at my end, even though I tried to reset to be sure. I did a factory reset after I updated. But I noticed that. But did you observe that, John, or you haven't checked that to see if that's the problem, or if it's just at my end?
I have not gone into App Info yet. I have noticed some issues, and I've already started reporting feedback. I think I've already done 2 different feedbacks, but that I did not notice. If I find the same thing, I'll report it. I mean, it should be labeled. I don't like the fact that when they have a button and text separate items, like it should be one item, but at the very least, if there are 2 items, at least have it labeled, right? So yeah, I'll definitely be reporting that if it shows up on my phone.
So here I am in my recent apps.
Keep notes.
And I have keep notes. So if I go in here,
App info. Navigate up.
And
button.
Now, so if you're a swiper, if you just swipe,
button.
All you hear is button.
Button.
But below each of these,
notifications off.
You have
permissions.
The
notifications off. Button. Button. Archive.
So see, I move my finger down below the first one.
Uninstall.
And I move my finger down below the second one and the third one.
Force stop.
But if I just
button.
Touch.
Button.
There we go. So it's kind of really odd. And I hope it's just at my end, though, because it's not very good if that's what it is. And I hope
I'm sure it's not just at your end. They do this stuff all the time. Like, I don't mind that there are issues like this, because when you're redesigning a UI, you're going to miss things. I do my part. I report the feedback and hope they fix it. Samsung used to be good about it, but this past time, it seems like they totally ignored everything I pointed out in One UI 7. So I don't know if Google fixes this by public release, it's not a big deal because these things happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, so hopefully they fix this type of thing. I've had some issues with the lock screen and the quick settings panel that I've reported, but I'll go ahead and point out some of the things I noticed that I like. So it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, Warren, it used to be because of the at-a-glance widget thing that you can't get rid of on the home screen. You could only have 4 rows of icons on your first home screen. But I think now you can have 5 rows because that widget, although it's still there, it only takes up 1 row of icons. So it seems like there's more room for icons on the home screen now. Did you notice that?
I noticed that because I now on my home page is 2 and on I could have up to 6 rows, and like you said, I have 5 rows now on my first home screen. So yeah, Google is doing something better, and I really like it because now you have more room to fit in. I wish they made it like a 6x6. You know what I mean? Instead of a 6x5 or 5x6 or whatever. So you
Yeah.
could 6 rows and 5 columns, so I wish it was a 6x6. That would be great. But this is an improvement. I like that a new feature.
Yeah, also on the home screen, I noticed they finally, and I'm kind of, this is bittersweet for me because they finally added actions for removing icons on the home screen, and they've finally added actions for uninstalling items from the apps drawer. And but what they haven't done is, how items on the home screen had an action for add to home screen?
A move to home screen,
useless. Yeah, so it would just make a copy of that app that you already have on the home screen. So I was hoping that since it took them 3 years to fix this, while they were adding that action, they would get rid of the add to home screen action, but they haven't. It's still there, so maybe in another 3 years, it'll be the way it should be. But yeah, you can remove it with an action. You don't have to. And this wasn't intuitive. If you didn't know, you were confused because what you either have to do is double tap hold and drag it to remove at the top, or you have to select move item as the action and then find remove. Yeah. And most people, and I don't blame them, I wouldn't even think that move item would be how you remove it. Like, it should just have its own action. So I'm glad it does now.
Yeah, and it's still there if you want that, if you prefer that method, but at least as you indicated, it's there in the actions. You got the remove and you also have the uninstall right in there as well. Another thing that I also found though that I really like is in the notifications area, because now you got you got history on the left, you got the clear all in the middle, and then you have the notification settings on the bottom right. So when you tap on that notification settings, you are going into notifications. So you don't have to go into system settings and go to notifications and all of that. In the same manner, if you tap on that history, you're going into the notification history where you could enable to see notification history or not allow to see notification history. So a little bit of a revamp here, and I really like how the notification area now looks.
Yeah, and the quick settings has been revamped as well. So for those that aren't familiar with Pixel UI, the way they do quick toggles are they're pretty wide toggles. So there's only 2 in each row. So when you bring up the notifications, there's 2 rows of 2 tiles. So you have 4 tiles on your notification shade. And then when you expand to the quick settings, it doubles it so that you have 8, 4 rows of 2. And of course, if you have more than that, you can go through the pages. But what they've done now is in the customization, you can choose to adjust the size of any quick settings tile to make it half as wide. So what that means now, and you don't have to do it to all of them, you can pick and choose which ones you want to be larger and which ones you want to be smaller. So now you can have up to 8 on your notification shade. So you could have 2 rows of 4 if you wanted to, and then you could have 16 per page if you wanted to of notifications or not notifications on the quick settings panel itself. So it's a lot more customizable because not only can you rearrange them, but you can change the size of them. And also, while you are adding them to the quick settings, while you're adding the tiles to the quick settings, a nice touch they've added is that now they're categorized. So instead of just being like this big clump of quick settings tiles and having to go through with them all, there's headings. So there's like tools, there's accessibility, there's display, there's system settings. So they're all organized. And that at the bottom of the list, of course, is third-party apps. And then they're all grouped together. And when you do add a tile to quick settings, it actually stays it down in the list of quick settings. It just shows it dimmed and says already added to quick settings. So even when you add, so everything stays where it is in the list of quick settings. It doesn't get all mixed up, and it's a much more organized list. It's much more easier to find what you're looking for when you want to add it.
Yeah. I like what we have. Of course, like we've indicated, there's some issues here and there and all of that. And then, of course, you notice that they have new sounds and all of that. And for those of you guys who like sounds, got different new sounds, just like One UI 7 for Samsung has new sounds. We also have new sounds here in that QPR Beta 1 or QPR1 Beta 1. So, yeah.
And speaking of sounds, I noticed, and I really like this, the media. There's more steps to the media volume now. So it used to only have 15 steps, meaning that when you would adjust it, it would adjust it by like either 6 or 7% each time you adjusted it. But now there's 25 steps. So it goes by 4% at a time. So there's more granular control over the volume level, which I think is a good thing. Of course, I don't know why they didn't do it to the accessibility volume as well. The accessibility volume still has only 15 steps, but the media volume you have more granular control over, which I like. And I mean, they've added haptics too. A lot of different haptics that I haven't noticed, like when you turn on and off tiles. Of course, if you have haptics turned on TalkBack, you already get this sort of thing. But just nice touches like when you slide the brightness slider, so you double tap and hold and you're sliding it, you feel it vibrate as it's moving, and like as it's getting brighter, it vibrates more. Same when you're adjusting your volume. If you press and hold the volume key to raise the volume, like you can feel the vibrations getting heavier as the volume is going up. So it's nice little touches like that I think make it a great experience, honestly, as long as they can get rid of some of these bugs.
Yeah, no, definitely vibrations are a whole lot better now than they used to be. So yeah, we really got some good stuff in here. But like I said, most of it is, visual. And but those are some of the highlights. Of course, if you want to enroll in this, though, you have to understand that, when the new one comes out and if you want to roll back, it's going to kind of erase your stuff. So you got to make up your mind on what you want to do. And if you're already in the beta, you get that automatic, enrollment into that. So
if you're already in the beta and you don't want to if you don't want to go into the QPR and you want to wait for regular Android 16, I think you can just ignore the update. Like you will get an update because you'll automatically be enrolled in it. But if you don't install the update, just keep ignoring the notification, then I believe that when Android 16 comes out, you'll get that update instead. And then once you update to that, you can unenroll without having to factory reset. At least that's how I think it works. I mean, this is all very confusing.
I don't know if it auto installs for you while you're sleeping.
If that happens, you're screwed.
But yeah.
But I know you can't unenroll, because if you unenroll, it'll send you like Android 15 to like if you go unenroll from the QPR that you've automatically been enrolled into, it will say, oh, you must want to go back to Android 15. So it'll send you Android 15 and wipe your device when you update to it. So your best chance is to ignore it and hope it doesn't install.
Yeah, but if you unenroll from the beta before installing the QPR, you would be fine. But actually, I don't mind the QPR because it's like a feature drop. We start the feature drop. The next one's going to be in September.
You know,
So yeah, so
you
it's
know what I
not
have
bad.
to say, Warren, about this whole QPR business? I think because of people like you that were up in arms about, why am I getting my Pixel before I'm getting the new
Exactly.
version of Android?
I was pissed.
What I think they've done is I think they've been like, since these people are so concerned about what version of Android they're running, we're just gonna call 15 QPR3 Android 16, and then when we release 16, when we'll release 16 QPR1 when we would have released Android 16. And that's what it feels like, because all this new redesign and all these new features, it feels like a new version of Android. It does not feel like a feature drop. So I feel like they've just been like, well, what's in the name? We'll just say this version is Android 16. Because really, I mean, they've never promised a certain amount of updates. They've only promised years. So like, if they decide to like only release a new version of Android every 2 years, people would start throwing a big fit. Even if they release like 7 QPRs between each version of Android, because people are like all about like what number version they have. So I think they just did that to cater to people.
Really good. So that's what we have for the QPR. If you're interested, you can enroll in it, and if you're not, then just wait for the final release of Android 16 sometime in June. Ed and I already lost to it because we thought they were going to release it in May during Google I/O, but no, we were wrong. So it's going to be in June.